Welcome to my YouTube channel. Subscribe, like, share and drop your comments. Thank you. In today's tutorial, we'll be learning how to make the lower parts of this dress. That is the skirt part of it. This is the pattern, the paper I'll be using as my pattern. I will draft out a skirt. If you are drafting a skirt, you need the waist measurement divided by 4. So I'm marking my waist measurement divided by 4. I'll put 1 inch for the dart allowance, and I'll put 1 inch for the seam allowance. That is the waist. Then from the waist, you go down to your hip. Here I'm using 6.5 because the paper I'm using is small and I just want to draft something small. So this is I'll put my hip divided by 4 and the seam allowance. So that's the hip line. Then I'll connect my waist line to my hip line. This is just a mini skirt. It's not a full skirt for an adult. So then from my waist, I will go to my nail line. That is my nail line. And I will now come up from that nail line. I'll come up by 1 or 2 inches. Since it's a small skirt, it's not an adult size of skirt, so I came up by 1 inch. But we are drafting for an adult, you need to come up by 2 or 3 inches. So I came up from my nail line by 1 inch, and then I will transfer my hip line measurement to that line that I just drew, and I'll come in by 1 inch on that line, so that it will give me a curvy shape. It will give me a fitted shape on the lap or on the thigh. So I came in like that, and then I will now draw my A-line shape. I'll first transfer the measurement downward first. That is the measurement on that line downward. Then I will extend it by whatever length I want to extend it with, maybe 4 inches, 5 inches, depending on how wide I want the lower part of my skirt to be. So I'll just draw a line, and that is the skirt I have is an A-line kind of skirt or A shape. So I'll cut out my pattern. After cutting out my pattern, I will fix my dart. I will draw my dart leg, my dart on both sides of both the right side and the left side of my skirt. So what I'm doing at this point is trying to fix my dart. At this point, I'm just trying to draw the center of my dart downward, because that is where I'll put the flounce that I will later cut. That is where I will insert the flounce of the skirt. So the next thing is to mark out the point where my flounce will start. So I'm trying to mark the first one. I marked at the line. The second one, I came up by 2 inches. You just decide where you want the flounce to start. Like in the picture, we have 3 flounce, so I marked 3 points. The next thing is to measure out the length of my mark. The first one is 9.5. That will be the length of my flounce, 9.5 inches. The second one is 11.5 inches, while the third one is 15 inches. To cut the fillet, then I will use the first one as an example. The length is 9.5. I will add a 9.5 to the width of that flounce. You see this arrow with the point, how big I want that place to be. I will add it to the length. So to get this complete circle, because we'll be cutting our fabric in a circle. So for me, I have 9.5, which is the length, plus 4. I want that width to be 4 inches. So it gave me 13.5. Now the next thing is to pick my pattern paper, and I'll fold it just like this into 4 so that I can cut the circle. Now I will divide my 13.5 by 2, which will give me 6.75. That is the radius. So by the time I now open the circle, it will give me 13.5 as my diameter. So I will mark the circle like this around, and I'll cut it out. So after cutting, this is what I have. I have the circle. Now, the next thing is to mark my 9.5. Don't forget the 9.5 is the length. And I have 4 inches left. So I'll come to this side again. I'll mark the 4 inches. I'll connect like that. And I will make an arc. Just like that. And that is what I will cut. Once I cut it, I will have the fillet or the flounce. Yes, that is what we have. Don't forget that if you are adding crinoline or a pep or hard stay, whatever you are adding to make it stand, you add all your allowance to it. So I'll cut the second one. I'll measure. I'll do the calculation like the way I did initially, and I'll cut it out. So that is how I'm going to do for the 3. So if you're adding it to the back, you do the same calculation. In attaching it to your skirt, you can do it 2 ways. Either you can cut the skirt, you cut it open and you sew it, you put it inside, or you can actually sew it outside the skirt. It depends on your sewing method. You can open it like this, and you just put it and sew. That is after adding whatever you want to add, either a crinoline mesh or a hard stay that will make it stand firm with the lining. So you just attach it like that, put it on the sewing machine and sew. Or if you don't want to do it like this, you can make it neat. Make the edges very neat and just put it directly on your fabric and sew it on the fabric like that, and just sew it. That is, you sew one side and you sew the other side like that. So you just attach it in whatever way that works for you. That is the end of the tutorial. I hope you have learned something new today. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do. Thank you so much for watching. See you in my next video.